Hello, my name is Mac Alexander. This is a head football coach's curriculum based on positive coaching for my field-based research study, HPPE 596 through Adams State University.
So do I have to sit here and watch this record the whole time? What?
Gonna watch it upload. Nate just uploaded one last night.
To give you guys a quick little introduction of myself, again, my name is Mac Alexander. I'm currently the defensive backs coach at College Mason University. We are a Division II program located in Grand Junction, Colorado, and we play in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. I've been coaching here for 3 years, and I love my job. I'm currently 25 years old. I'm actually getting married this summer to my lovely fiance, and man, I love coaching. This is what I wanted to do my entire life, and I can't wait to one day to become a head coach of my own program. The purpose of this research paper was to develop a head football coaching curriculum centered on the style of positive coaching. The way this was done was through research on positive coaching, through articles, programs, books, and different coaches to get their input and learn about what positive coaching truly is, as well as interviews with other football coaches that are coaching in different universities around the country. So what is positive coaching? Positive coaching is a coach who teaches their players to care for one another, honor the game, and understand that it's all about encouraging one another to become better individuals and players. And we'll get more into this later, but this is just a simple definition of what a positive coach is. Why positive coaching? I chose this because this is something I learned back in one of my classes earlier in this master's program, and it's stuck with me ever since then. It's something I truly believe that I am built for. It fits my personality, something I really want to do and how I want to coach my players. So that's why I chose this. And why I want to make a curriculum. I really want to make this because I've seen other head coaches' curriculums, but I've never seen one centered on the style of positive coaching. So that's why I wanted to make one, and I wanted to keep. I'm gonna keep this forever, and I want to keep building on it as I learn more and more about this style. As I was researching positive coaching, I came across a lot of different aspects that related to it, and one of these was psychology. I came across this thing called positive psychology coaching, which is PPC, and the definition of this is coaching approaches that seek to improve short-term well-being and sustainable well-being, using evidence-based approaches from positive psychology and the science of well-being and enable the person to do this in an ongoing manner after coaching was completed. To me, this is a perfect example of what us as coaches want to do. We want to prepare our student athletes for life after athletics. We're not just trying to impact them when they're here. We want to prepare them for life. So when they're done and they're away from us, we're no longer coaching them. They're going to be successful in whatever they do. We want to help them develop skills, just because we all know life is not easy. So as coaches, we need to prepare them for that, and so that one day they can succeed and look back on their time at doing athletics so that they can become successful in whatever they plan to do. What exactly is a positive coach, and what is the difference between him and a coach who may not have a style? So a positive coach is one that focuses on the individuals. They care about the individual as the athlete. They show interest in the athlete, and they teach the athlete. And there's many other things they do as well. A positive coach is one who's always encouraging. We all know in athletics, an athlete's going to make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. And a positive coach is always going to find the mistake, but always and correct it, but always find something positive they did during that mistake. Also, a positive coach is one who's going to actively listen to an athlete. And this can be on the field or court, but also as well just off the field. And just when an athlete comes up to the office just to talk to them, they're going to actively listen to him. And a negative coach is one who always going to focus on winning. And they're not going to necessarily care about the players as individuals. But a positive coach, of course, we want to win. We also are going to care about the individual athletes. And as one does all these things above, it's going to develop a sense of trust. Trust is something kids these days, they struggle with. A lot of times kids come from different backgrounds. They may not trust someone right away. So when you actually take and you care about an individual, you're going to develop a sense of trust with the player. And when this trust comes, then you're going to be able to instill even more confidence into these players, which will eventually change the mentality of that athlete. As I was researching positive coaching, I came across this group in this program. It's called the Positive Coaching Alliance, which stands for PCA. So what this group basically is a group developed and designed to help coaches become more positive and to reach their athletes in a better way. This program is all about giving athletes characteristics that they could take on to the next level and take them in life. And it's all through positive coaching. So some things that I came across this group that were interesting to me was first the double goal coach. So what this double goal coach means is the first goal of a coach is to win, but winning is not everything to them or to the team. The second goal is to help them develop a positive character traits within the team so they can become successful in life. And this is awesome to me because as a coach, we're all coaching because we're competitive and we want to win. But in the end, we know that's not the most important thing. And secondly, we want to help our athletes become better people through the use of sports. And that's exactly what the second goal is. Some other things that were interesting that PCA does is they have this thing called the emotional tank. And they believe that each athlete has an emotional tank in their bodies. And this athlete can either be replenished or it can just go down. And they think it's very important that a coach fills his athletes with positive fuel that will help motivate his athletes. So they believe that when an athlete has a very low setting fuel and has no fuel in his body and in his emotional tank, he's not going to be able to do his best. But when it's full, then he's going to be able to do his best and be very competitive in everything that he does. Another interesting part was honoring the game. Playing athletics is something that shouldn't be taken lightly, and it should be you should have just a great sense of what you're doing because not everybody gets this opportunity. So the things that they teach is honor the game by upholding the spirit, rules, respects the opponents, respects the officials, and will always, always do their best. So as I was learning about positive coach and talking to other coaches, one issue always came up, and that was, as a positive coach, it sounds like you're always encouraging and you're never really getting on your players. And they all said it has a sense of softness to it. And to me, I understand that. And so I did some more research. I came across the University of Missouri. The University of Missouri has an online positive coaching master's degree that anybody can get. And some of the points that they made that you will learn through this program is that a positive coach is going to be very demanding, but they're not going to be demeaning. So what this means is that coach is going to demand a lot of their athletes, but they're never going to demean them and bring them down in a very negative way, such as attacking their personal lives, talking about their home life, their parents and sisters and things like that. Also, as a positive coach, you're going to shape an athlete's will without breaking their spirit. So you're going to shape an athlete into who you want them to be, but you're never going to do it by breaking them. And I think this is very important because we all want to shape our athletes and mold them, but we never want to bring them down so that they just become terrible persons and stuff like that. So another great thing they had is that they said it does matter to win because winning in life is very important for athletes. Now, there's a saying that says losing is a habit, and I believe that winning is a habit as well because if you can teach your athletes to win on the football field, to win everything that they do while they're in your program, then they're going to think that that's just how life is, and they're going to go try to win in life. And our whole goal as a coach is to prepare them for life after athletics. And if we do that by winning, then they're going to be very successful in whatever they do. So again, as I was researching positive coaching, I started to think what type of leadership styles are going to benefit and help a positive coach. The two I came across were transformative leadership and servant leadership. Obviously, these aren't the only ones that could help a positive coach, but these are the ones that I think directly correlate to the positive coaching style. So transformative leadership is exactly what it says it is. It is a leadership style that is going to help transform the people one is leading. So the way they're going to do this is there's 5 characteristics: individual consideration, fostering acceptance, expecting high performance, being an appropriate role model, and inspiring others. All of these 5 characteristics can be applied in the business world, and it can also be applied for a coach down to athletes. These are some great characteristics that any coach can develop within their athletes. The second leadership style was the servant leadership. So what servant leadership is, it is providing leadership that focuses on the good of those who are being led and whom an organization serves. So an example of this to me is when an athlete, let's say, comes to a coach and they need something back home. that coach is going to do everything possible to serve that athlete and help them with whatever issue they have going on. And this does not mean that you're soft or you're kneeling down to the athlete. You are just trying to serve them in a very positive manner and help them become better in what they're doing and help them solve their issue. So also, a servant leader, he is a servant first, and then they make the conscious choice to lead. And because of this, a servant leader, just like any other positive coach, they want to see their athletes become healthier, wiser, freer, and more autonomous. By the time an athlete leaves a coach, it is a true test of if an athlete has done this when they go into the real world. So these two styles, transformative and servant, are two leadership styles I think go great and correlate great with the positive coaching style. So these next slides include the procedures portion, which is in the paper as well. And these procedures are all the procedures that a head coach is going to have to think about and take care of once he comes in and takes over a program. And they're all just different pieces that go into a puzzle. The first one is the most important, the team mission and goals. So the mission statement that I will have for my football team is that we will be a team that dominates on and off the field and will develop great young men through positive coaching. I'll prepare my athletes for life after football by becoming great husbands, fathers, and employees. We will be a family who respects each other, our opponents, the community, and the game by committing to the best of our ability in everything that we do. This is a mission statement that I've developed through research and just studying other coaches and reading about coaches, and I believe that is one that's very strong. It's simple and straight to the point. The goals for my football team, then this will be for every single year, is number one, we are going to be great in the classroom. We're going to get good grades, and we're always going to go to class. Second one is we're going to be very active in the community. The third one, we're always going to compete. This is in class, it's in on the field, it's off the field. We're going to compete in everything that we do. And the last two are we're going to win a conference championship, and after we do that, we're going to go win a national championship. These will be my goals that I will show to my team each and every year. So one question I think that is very imperative for any coach to answer, and I got this from one of my professors at Adams State, Coach Zoo, is why do I coach? And the reason why I coach is because I personally think that this is what I was meant to do. God has all given us with different characteristics and talents, and I believe that my talents fit to be a football coach. I love being around people, and I'm not the biggest talker, but I like to talk to people. I want to help people become better people. And that's what I'm doing as a football coach. I want to develop great young men. I'm going to bring them in as young men. By the time they leave me, they're going to be great young men. I want to help them win on the football field as well as life. And the second reason is I love the game of football. The game of football has meant so much to me. There's been a lot of downs and ups in this game, but I've learned so much from it, and I want to use my experiences to help others. And honestly, I get to compete day in and day out. Being a collegiate football coach, it's simple. If you win, you're going to keep your job. If you lose, you might lose your job. So to me, that means each day I come in ready to compete for my job and prove that I deserve to have this job. And those are the reasons why I coach the great game of football. So another procedure is that a coach is going to have to look at is the coaching responsibilities. As a head football coach, you're going to have a bunch of different coaches who are underneath you. Hopefully, if you're coming into a new job, you're going to be able to bring in the people you want to bring in, but many times you're not going to be able to do this. So you're going to have to meet and sit with each one of your coaches and understand what type of skills they have, because each coach is going to be different. And then you're going to have to assign jobs to the coach and responsibilities depending on those skills that they do have. Also, at least at the collegiate level, you're going to have different levels of coaches. So what I mean by this, you're going to have full-time coaches, you're going to have part-time coaches, you're going to have graduate assistants, even volunteer coaches. So you're going to have to understand what kind of type of coaches you have and who you have to give them the best jobs that fit them. One thing I'll always have for my coaches, I'm going to have high expectations. I expect my coaches to be great role models to all my athletes, and this is just going to be very important because I don't want them doing dumb stuff, because then my players are going to do dumb stuff because they see their coaches doing it. And I'm always going to make sure I hire the right coach for my current position, and that's going to fit my current staff. Each staff is going to have a different personality. Some coaches are going to get along, others aren't. So when hiring a coach, I want to hire the correct coach. I'm a big believer. I'm a young guy. I'm a big believer that one day when I become a head coach, I want to hire young coaches because I want to give them their opportunity. My head coach, Russ Martin, gave me an opportunity, and I want to give other young coaches opportunity as well. And also, I think another big thing as a head coach is you have to do everything you can to prepare your coaches for their next job. Some coaches, they may think this is their dream job. Other coaches, they want to move up. They want to go experience something else. So preparing them for this is very, very important. So next procedure is the team rules and policies. These rules and policies are more, for the whole politics of a collegiate university, something that you have that you can always go back to. You can give to your athletic director and all other people on campus just so they see how your team is going to be operated. But this is also something that you're going to present to the team. This is something the first day you have the full team together, you're going to present all the rules and policies that you have. And then you're going to have each kid sign these. I'm not going to go over all these because they can get kind of boring, but making sure that each one of your athletes understand what's expected of them and the rules they have to follow is very important. These are going to be different depending on who the head coach is, but some of the major ones are going to involve alcohol, substance abuse, and different things like that each athlete's going to have to understand that if they break these, they may no longer be on the team once they break them. So just doing this and having this is very, very important especially for the political aspects of being a head coach. So as a football coach and a football staff, each coach is going to have a certain position that they coach. This coach can be quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, D-line, offensive line, linebackers, and then defensive backs. So each coach is going to be a little different. And the great thing about football is it's a sport where each player is going to be different. You're going to have a 160-pound cornerback going against a 330-pound offensive lineman. There's no other sports like that. So it's going to be very crucial that each assistant coach has specific position-specific skill sets that they're going to bring to the table. So one thing I will require of all my position coaches is I want them to develop a position manual. This position manual is something that they can show to the first meeting they have with their position. And it's very simple to follow. It's going to basically lay out the expectations they have, simple drills, and how to become great at what they do. And what I want each of my position group coaches to do is to own that group and be responsible for that group. I don't want to, as a head coach, I'm in charge of everybody, but I want these assistant coaches to take pride in their group and always just be responsible for them so that if I have an issue, I can tell their coach and they can resolve it, especially if it's a smaller one. I also want each coach to bring energy into a meeting room. As a football coach, you're going to meet a lot with your guys, and it's going to get kind of boring for them. So you need to make sure that you bring energy into this meeting room so they can learn and get better and then go on with the rest of their day. During the football season, a team is normally going to play around 11 football games. And during the year, they're also going to have, close to 100 practices. So this practices are really where an athlete and a football team is going to get better, and it's where the games are won. So developing a great practice schedule for each day of the week and being organized with it is very, very crucial. An idea of this that I learned a long time ago is like Mondays, after a Saturday game is more of a laid back type of day, and so an example could be if the team won, instead of wearing helmets that day, everyone wears hats. It's just a simple thing to keep the mood up. And then normally Tuesdays and Wednesdays are full pad days and they're the work days. And then once you hit Thursday, that's when the tempo slows down and it just becomes a less tempo type of day just to prepare the athletes for the upcoming game on Saturday. Another thing I learned from Jim Moore, the head coach of UCLA, is that each coach needs to understand that they're going to set the tempo for practice. And because of this, coaches need to bring uncommon energy each and every day to practice. Because if you don't have energy, then the players won't have energy. They're going to feed off what you do. So this uncommon energy is very, very important. So any football coach knows and understands that the weight room is possibly one of the most important parts to a football team becoming successful. It's not like basketball, where basketball, to get better, you go and you shoot on the basketball hoop. To get better in football and to get stronger, you have to go and spend time in the weight room. So the goal of any weight room for my football team is just to develop strong, explosive athletes. I learned from a strength coach that said, if the football team got beat up and got out physical and out hit during a football game, then that's on the strength coach that he didn't do his job for that week and didn't make the guys tough enough for that week. And so games are truly won by gaining strength and toughness in the weight room. The main lifts that a football team should be centered around in the weight room should be squats, bench, and cleans. These are the major lifts. Obviously, there can be other lifts that are to be done, but these are the ones that should be stressed during each and every program that a strength coach designs. Maxes are also another important part. Some coaches may think it's different, but to me, maxes are huge. Maxes show the improvement of athletes. You can max at the beginning of the year, you can max in the middle of the year, and max at the end of the year. And you should be able to see improvement for each one of your guys go up. If they're going down, then something's wrong. Either they're not treating their bodies right, or the program that we have for our athletes is not very well run or organized. And again, being organized through all this, through the entire being a head coach, is so key, especially in the weight room when you're recording numbers, and I have tons of numbers to show. In collegiate football, recruiting is what a head coach and a coaching staff is either going to thrive or die on. Recruiting is when you recruit high school athletes into your program. If you recruit bad players, then your team is probably going to lose, and you're going to lose your job. If you recruit really good players, then you're going to win, you're going to keep your job. So recruiting is a huge element to a collegiate football coach. To me, the way I would recruit, and I'm going to recruit one day, is I'm going to find the best athlete available, but I'm also going to make sure that they fit the system that we run. And then you got to think, what position will he play for us? Sometimes you may see a receiver in high school, but you may think he's more of a defensive back in college. So just understanding that and making sure you find him for the right position is going to be crucial. Also, within your coaching staff, you're going to have some coaches who are better at recruiting than others. And you're going to have different personalities to send coaches into different parts of the country. You don't want to send a coach who's from the inner city to a town that's in the middle of Ohio in the grasslands and stuff. You want to send your best recruits to the best possible position for them to become successful. Again, this is just being organized and having a plan in everything that you do. Because recruiting is, besides winning games, is the most important thing you're going to have to do as a head coach. And if you do it correctly, you will win games. And if you don't, then you will lose games and you may lose your job. So equipment and apparel are parts of a football program that one may not necessarily think about, especially when it comes to equipment. But this is a huge part of football because in football, obviously you have a helmet, you have shoulder pads, you have knee pads, thigh pads, hip pads, butt pads, mouthpieces, and a bunch of other accessories in between. And all these are crucial to keep an athlete healthy and protected during the game of football. So one's going to be very organized when they do equipment and apparel. As a head coach, I'm going to designate a coach or hopefully have an equipment staff to do all this for me because it's something I don't really want to think about. But also when it comes to apparel, in today's society in football, the way you look is very important. The old saying of you look good, play good is something that all athletes, especially in this generation, believe in. So I want to make sure that I'm going to get the best apparel for my athletes I possibly can to make sure that they look good. And also, in today's football, the big issue is concussions. So staying up with new equipment, like new helmets and new technology that's coming out, is going to be crucial. And also giving options to kids. Some kids may not like this helmet, some may like this helmet. So having different options for kids to choose from is also very important. And after a long week of practice, it's game day. And this is the most exciting day to be a collegiate football player and a coach because this is where all the hard work pays off. As one of my fellow coaches always told me, this is the time when you get paid. This is where all the work you put in during the week comes out and shows on the field. So to me, during the week, it is up to the coaching staff to put in that extra work so that there is less stress on game day. There's a ton of stuff going on game day. You got to make sure kids are in the right places. There's people everywhere. So the more work you put into during the week, the less stress you have on game days. I also think that you got to prepare your athletes. Preparing athletes is by doing things such as scouting report of the other team, player scouting reports, which is you take the top players from the other team and you make your athletes fill out and answer questions about that team, about that player that they see by watching film of that player. This is a simple thing. Some coaches like quizzes, but I'm a big believer in these player scouting reports. And I also believe in a final tips and reminder, which is located to the side, an example of one, because this is something you can give your athlete, the night before, even the morning of, just to remind them of little things that's important of what they might see. I'm also a big believer in goals. I want each one of my players to have a note card, and they're going to fill out 3 goals. They're going to have 3 personal goals and 3 team goals. I want to see them do this because I want to see what they're thinking about, and I want to know what their goals are for that game. I'm not going to share these with anybody, but I want them to have them and turn them into me so that I can read before the game. I want each of my athletes to understand how important goals are for them. I want them to go into a game not having any goals. I want them to think of something they want to accomplish and tell me, and then go out and do it. This is the final slide with the results and recommendations. So overall, after doing all this research and talking to other coaches, I believe that positive coaching is the best way to coach athletes. Being a positive coach just truly shows that you invest time into athletes as individuals. You're not so concerned about what they're going to do for you on the field or court and make you look good, but you're really concerned about who they are deep down inside. A positive coach is also one that's very encouraging. In today's society, with all this negativity going around, athletes and young kids, they need someone who's going to encourage them and push them in a very positive manner, not in a negative manner. And honestly, a positive coach is one who loves his job. I always say, I hear other coaches tell me, they're living the dream, and that's what a positive coach should do, because you are very blessed to do what you do, and because you get to work with young people and young athletes each and every day, and that's something you should be very, very proud of and take very high responsibility in. And in the end, I can't wait to one day have some of my athletes call me up and just say, "Coach, I appreciate everything you did for me." That is why I coach right there. I want to have a lasting impact on each one of my athletes. So I know one day I see them as loving husbands and fathers, and whatever they're doing in their life, I just see them being positive people, and that's how I want to impact them. I don't want to impact them in a negative way. I want them to be great people to go change the world one day. So I appreciate all your time. I hope someone took something out of this. Again, this is Mac Alexander. This presentation on a head football coach's curriculum based on positive coaching.